Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Low Carb Hustle. And if you're looking to put a little bit of muscle behind that low carb hustle, you are in the right place. Joining me today, I have a very special guest here with Danny Kavadlo, the author of Hybrid Strength Training, How to Get Shredded and Jacked with Calisthenics and Weights, right?
It's a long subtitle. It's a long subtitle. It's okay.
But it's everything that I want out of life, which is to be shredded and jacked. So, but man, dude, so appreciative that you came on the show to talk with us about just how to use the combination of strength training in the weight room, as well as the body weight, the calisthenics, to really produce the body, the fitness level, and the aesthetic that we're looking for. So, dude, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks a lot, Nate. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to always talk training and nutrition, and especially talk about hybrid strength training, which is what we're talking about here. But, you know, just to jump right in and get to what you're talking about, combining weight training and calisthenics, it's funny because just a little background information. I'm 47 years old, and I've been working out since I was a teenager.
Danny looks like, a lot younger than I do, and I'm like 35. So
I have one of those nice lights up here that makes you look nice on Zoom.
Let's not sugarcoat it. You've been doing the work.
I've been doing the work. I started working out when I was a kid, and obviously the first stuff I started doing when I was new to all of this was body weight stuff. You know, I have two brothers who would do push-up contests. Eventually we got like a bar in the door frame in the bedroom. We do chin-ups, stuff like that. And then the next step was getting a weight set. When I was, again, my uncle gave me a weight set when I was pretty young, 12, 13. I didn't start working as a trainer until I was 31. That's 16 years ago, though. And then I didn't even really get the distinction between calisthenics factions and free weight factions until the internet really started blowing up. So I came onto the internet and I did okay with it for a guy that hates computers. But I actually got known for calisthenics, which I love calisthenics. I mean, let's face it, before you even pick up a weight, you have to know how to use your body. You got no business putting a barbell on your back if you can't do a body weight squat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a million other comparisons I could make over there. So I started doing a certification with my brother, Al Kavadlo, with Dragon Door, called the Progressive Calisthenics Certification. And it's a pretty amazing thing that we've been doing for 9 years already. So between that and YouTube and whatever, I was only known for calisthenics, but I've been lifting weights the whole time. I could teach a calisthenics workshop and still do deadlifts when I get home and still do advanced calisthenics and whatever. So it was really the internet that I started seeing like this is a thing. It's like, you know, Jim Bro saying that these calisthenics guys got chicken legs and calisthenics guys saying, hey, you can't do pull-ups. And to me, especially right now, you know, I started this book in 2019. So it was before a lot of the world went as mad as it's gone now. But you know, even at the time, I was like, anyone who works out is good. And it's all strength training to me. If you're challenging your muscles against progressive resistance, I'm not going to hate on you because you like training in the park or you like training in the gym. But it was really important that I put this book out because this is the way I train. If you hire me as a trainer, we're going to do some calisthenics. We're going to lift weights. There's no cookie cutter approach that's going to be exactly the same for everybody. But everybody still needs to do strength training. So that's my long answer about just the principle behind combining it. They're not that different. It's all strength training. Anyone who works out, we got more in common than apart than anyone who works out in a different way than we work out, especially right now when for 2 years, you know, people were said, don't work out, do this or this or this or this or the other thing.
Hit the McDonald's, that'll stay open, but no gym.
Yeah, free hamburger. So, you know, whatever. So I'm super happy this book is out. It really gets to get everything down into one place for me.
I want to dive into some of the programs you have in there, some of the rep schemes and different kind of your philosophy on that. But first I'll just go back to kind of like you, like I just had this vision of you like emerging on the internet and being like, oh yeah, I got like, guys, I really like pull-ups. And someone's like, you like pull-ups? So what are you saying? You don't like lat pull downs? You're saying you don't like doing dumbbell flies? Like, and you're like, whoa, no, I thought we were all just like lifting weights here.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty
That's
much
social media.
the you know, we live in a culture, you know, and I'll keep it fitness related, you know, but just with the internet in general, we live in a culture where hostility and anger and just being fired up is an actual product. It's a monetized product.
Woo.
The longer you're engaged with something, the more money stands to be made off you. So if I engage you, it's a lot easier to engage a lot of people with hostility. And then you're on this thing looking for ways to get mad. And I'm not talking about 13-year-old kids who are stupid. I'm talking about like 50-year-old grown-ups with advanced degrees, like doing
stupid.
you know, who are stupid, right? Exactly.
Yeah, but you're right. That's the product. That's what we're selling. So it's a lot easier to like resonate with someone off of a mutual dislike than it is liking something the same. So
it is madness. It is madness. You know, I purposely about a year and a half ago demonetized my YouTube and everything because I'm like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I don't even want to. I'd look at analytics or anything like that. I don't care. That's why I have a job. I work as a personal trainer, so you know, I could say this thing works or this thing doesn't work. I'm not afraid of pissing off my base or whatever. And I think the people that like the stuff I do have a pretty broad mindset of like, this is a broad mindset of strength training is good. But you know, it's so divisive right now that we got, what? You say your knee should look like this, you're crazy. You say your toes should look like that, you're nuts. And this such is the world. I kept it fitness related.
I appreciate it. I love that you demonetize your channel though. That's a baller move, especially considering you got a lot of followers on there. You could easily make a lot of money. But I love your email address is Danny the Trainer. Your website is Danny the Trainer. And what does it say on your Instagram bio? Not an influencer.
Not an influencer. You know, the division between what a trainer is and what an influencer is. I mean, influencer isn't even, I mean, it wasn't even a job 10 years ago, and no hate against influencers. They're doing what they do, and they work hard to put out content and to study. Did you see Mr. Beast on Joe Rogan last week? Mr. Beast.
I know who he is. I didn't see his interview.
He's the #1 YouTuber in the world. I know who he is because I have a 15-year-old son. He's only 23, Mr. Beast. But you know, he's the most exaggerated example of what people who do this full time on the internet do. But you're talking about studying what angle, what cut, what this, what whatever works to what to keep people engaged. If they stay engaged, then what? They see your commercials. They see your commercials, then you might make more money. So I have nothing against people who do that. It is a legit thing. It's a hustle. But that's not my job. So, you know, I wake up really early and I stand with people and we do pull-ups. That's my job. So I don't have to worry about the influencer thing.
And that's awesome because I think that a lot of like, I feel like especially kind of this Gen Z coming up, it's like, well, like I'm talking to a lot of people who are training. I've been a personal trainer since 2008. So I've been in it for a minute, not quite as long as you, but like now people don't even want to work as a personal trainer before they start growing their brand and coaching people online. And I'm like, they're like, what should I do? How do I do this? What's my, what filter should I use? I'm like, why don't you get a year coaching experience on the gym floor somewhere, decide if you even like this industry, you know?
It's really weird. It's really weird that whole thing, because you really, in order to get experience as a trainer or at anything, you just have to put in the hours. What is it? The Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours. I don't know if I agree with that exactly, but it's something like that. Like think about an apprenticeship. Yeah, you put in the time. So you can't go from being nothing to being amazing at anything. I believe that. And there's a lot of people out there that think that these YouTubers and shit don't put in the work. And the ones who are successful do. Like it really isn't easy for anybody to achieve success. Do some people have more aptitude for certain things than others? Absolutely. Of course, the world is the world. But anyone who's doing well in any medium, whether it's, you know, as a YouTube influencer or as a trainer or as a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a plumber or a tattoo artist or whatever.
Or practitioner of calisthenics.
A practitioner of calisthenics. Exactly. Well, the whole thing is put in the time, you get better at the stuff you do. And exactly, as a practitioner of calisthenics or somebody that works out, we have so much focus. You know, you're talking about as far as a career goes. I've talked to 18-year-old kids who, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, oh, I want to be a CEO.
All right.
A CEO of what? Like what do you do? What is the thing that's happening here? So this is what's a problem. So in a way, fitness, it really is the great equalizer, because maybe at times it seems like there are things where you can half-ass it or cut corners or do this or do that. But like really, when you're working out, when you're exercising, there's absolutely no substitute for hours and effort in the gym, on the pull-up bar, whatever, and consistently over time. Like there's no substitute for time, for duration. And that's the great part about it, you know?
100%, because you can't inherit this. You can't pass it down. You can't buy a set of abs, you know? All this stuff is indicative of effort, of repetitions, and of like embracing kind of like that. I don't want to say monotony, because I think fitness is fun, but like doing the same shit. Like you're not going to do 6 pull-ups and be like, why don't I have a muscle up yet? You got to do reps on reps on reps for weeks, months, years, right?
Right. And monotony does work in the gym, you know, and again, and, you know, I post human flags and muscle ups and fun stuff. And I'm the first person to say that you need to know the fundamentals. All this stuff is great. A human flag is great, but you could get in amazing shape without ever trying a human flag in your life. If you like it, then go for it. It's like you could get in great shape without ever doing MMA. If you like MMA, then do it. But, you know, in terms of just getting in shape, generally the stuff that works is basic and it is repetitive. Is it boring? Not to me, it's not boring. To me, a squat or a push-up is endlessly fascinating. But it's these basic, monotonous things that work. There's an expression, I think I heard David Lee Roth say it or something like that. He goes, if you want to be a monk, you got to make a lot of rice. And that's what it is over here. You know, like you do the task again and again and again and again. And it's really a problem that seems like such a foreign concept in the world right now. You know, even I remember I wrote about this in a book, Strength Rules, years ago, pre-pandemic. And it was something about that we live in this, you know, quick fix, you know, instant oatmeal, 1 hour photo type of culture. And like 1 hour photo, forget about that, man. It's like we're photo right now. How many likes right now? And the whole notion of things taking time, which is exactly what it is with your health and your strength and your muscle and all that stuff. The whole notion of things taking time is just shocking to some people.
I like, you know, like, cause you're at the store and you're like, ooh, let me get some quick oats up in here. And then someone's like, well, I have instant oats. You're like, God, wait, your oats are way faster than mine. Got to get in on that.
Right. And if you're going to eat the oats, get the steel cut oats that are slow, because they're better for you, you know?
Slow oats. You probably don't even like participation trophies, Danny.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm showing my age again. So are you, young man.
In the book, I love what you said. You had a quote from Ernest Hemingway in there when someone had asked him, how did you go broke? And he said, gradually, and then suddenly. And like, that's kind of how I love how you related that back to health, you know, both in getting out of shape and also getting in shape. Like a lot of times it's like, wow, I'm really slogging along at this. I'm not really getting it. And then you're like, oh, it clicked. I got it. I hit that kind of that upper level where I was like, all right, things are finally starting to make sense.
That is how it goes, gradually and then suddenly. You know, people really don't realize when they decline in health. And, you know, especially, let's say people 30, 40 years old or over that. You know, you think of your mind self when you're in high school, you're 17, 18 years old, or when you're in your 20s. And, you know, people are putting on 2 pounds every year. You put on 2 pounds every year since high school, you're going to be 50 pounds overweight when you're 40 years old or something like that. I didn't do the math.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, we'll edit it later. So it's gradually and then suddenly. You look at yourself, you're 40 years old, and it's like, what the hell happened over here? And sadly, people think they can reverse it quickly because they didn't think that it happened so gradually. So what happens is we get into a place where people want instant transformations. Again, it's the same point. It took you 20 years to put on that 50 pounds. Now you want it to come off in this 2-week or 30-day transformation that this influencer sold you on Instagram. And it doesn't work that way. You know, it's just good to think about realistic habits and to respect the time. And, you know, it just, people don't want to hear it.
I was going to say, this podcast is not going to do well because you're not promising anything instant and spectacular. You're not promising Amazon Prime results. I don't know if this is going to sell, man. We gotta tweak the message up.
I do have a promise. It's a hidden secret. No, it's not a hidden secret.
Ooh.
Work out consistently and frequently. Consistently, like maybe even forever, like that consistently. And there has to be some degree of intensity. And also eat lots of plants and drink lots of water. And you could eat animals too, but do those other things. I think eat some fruit, eat some vegetables, drink some water, eat a little bit less and drink a little bit less of everything else. Work out 3-4 days a week. Those things are guaranteed. Are they going to make you in supreme ultimate shape? No, but it's a process. They're going to take anyone from where they're at and start steering them in the right transformation. What workout do I do? Do some squats, do some lunges, do some push-ups if you've never worked out before. Do push-ups against a wall if you can't do them on the floor.
I love it. And this is a good time to jump into talking about, like, you have 3 6-week programs in the book. And it looks like even that the last program you could run more frequently than just the one time through. Could you want to talk through kind of what those programs are, how you came up with them, and what the different like levels look like?
Yes. You know, when I finally compiled what this book is, like I mentioned before, I started it a couple years ago, but it was over the last 2 years that I, at some points, had a lot more time to work on this. And I decided I wanted to devote my energy for this. So the last 2 books that my brother Al and I had put out, Get Strong and Next Level Strength. Let's talk about Get Strong, was the ultimate body weight training program. Now, prior to that, we had put out a lot of material, but no specific program. And part of the reason was, hey, we want to give you the paint and you paint the picture, use your strokes. And we also want to listen to what everybody tells us. And the one comment we've gotten more than anything is, can you give me more details in terms of a program? So that's what we tried to do in terms of Get Strong. And I think we did successfully in terms of calisthenics. Now, be aware, anytime you give a specific program, there's always going to be times when one should and could, and it's appropriate to deviate from that program. So any program has to be adapted and adjusted for the individual at times if it is appropriate. But when I put together hybrid strength training, I wanted to do something similar, but with weights and calisthenics. And the reason it's 3 programs, the 3 programs are Blue Flame, Red Hot, and Hell Yeah. And it's a beginner to intermediate program, an intermediate to advanced program, and a very advanced program. The reason there are 3 is because one of the comments that I got a lot about Get Strong was that it starts with doing like push-ups with your feet, with your hands high up on a bench, and it ends with doing, you know, 1-arm pull-ups with a 1-arm assist. And it's a very fast transformation. So to be more options for more different individuals, I said, let me start with this. This is really where I do start with beginners if someone hires me on as a trainer. Maybe not exactly like this, but some version of your basic squat, your basic push, your basic pull, etc. So that's what really compelled me to want to have 3 separate programs within the book. But again, even within this book, there are times where you assess yourself, should I do this again? Should I not do this again? Should I move forward? And there's always going to be times when adjustments need to be made. You know, one of the big myths in fitness is that there is one program that works exactly the same for everybody. But another myth in fitness is that everybody is so unique that they need everything to be 100% different. We all need, barring injury or disability, we all need to do some sort of squatting, some sort of pressing, some sort of pulling, some sort of hinging, maybe some sort of carrying to build our muscles and to be strong and amazing. And that's what we all want.
I think that like the the kind of the 2020 surge of personal trainers taking their businesses online and becoming online coaches brought with it this whole idea of like, I worked with a lot of people from the UK who always said the word bespoke. And I was like, what does that mean? I thought you were talking about like a suit, like a bespoke or custom workouts. And people were like, I need a custom workout. And I was like, you probably need a proven workout, something that actually has been shown time and again to get results. And like you said, little tiny deviations. Okay, your knee bothers you. Let's change the framework just a tiny bit. You know, you're okay. The Bulgarian split squats hurt your hip. Let's do it. Like drop it down to a split squat on the ground. You know, like having little tiny adjustments based on the individual, but putting people into programs that have been shown to work, because guys like you, like Jay Ferrugia, like people who have been in the strength training game for a really long period of time know what works, right? You got it all down. And I love that you put it together in this book in a way that makes sense and a way that's like easily sequential.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate the kind words. You know, again, in terms of the basics working, you know, I in New York City, personal training is huge, and there's a lot of personal training gyms, which are gyms that don't necessarily have a personal training staff. But what it is, you know, I could come in, Danny the trainer, and by email, it's funny, my email is actually dannypersonaltrainer@gmail.com. I want to throw that out there. No, the website is Danny the Trainer, but I couldn't get it for the Gmail. So the Gmail is Danny Personal Trainer. But I work in this gym or many gyms, and you got these trainers in there that like rent space. And a lot of these guys charge a lot of money. And you can always tell, right? You can see that. You can see the ones texting, the ones eating. But in terms of the workouts themselves, the guys that have been doing it and the gals that have been doing it for a long time are doing deadlifts. They're doing pull-ups. They're doing dips. They're doing presses. It's the ones that are watching a YouTube clip that are doing a one-arm, whatever, flaming Bosu.
Naked Bosu ball.
Yeah.
Juggling.
So it's like the classics work. The classics works. The classics works. Does that mean there's never a time to deviate? Of course not. Do what's fun. Keep yourself interested. But if you're going for results, if you're going for someone that doesn't work out to someone that does work out, keep it basic, add weight, make it more difficult, clean up the diet, get sleep, don't get stressed out. You will get in better shape. It's a fact.
Crazy. You didn't say anything about like any new supplements or anything like that. So that's really weird to me. But can you talk a little bit, Danny, about like, what do you think about the idea of muscle confusion? How has that impacted the industry, or like, what's your response to that?
You know, muscle confusion, I think it's based on, you know, if you do something new, it's going to shock you a little bit. If I'm doing exercise A, B, C for 3 months and I go to exercise D, I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm most likely going to have some degree of muscular soreness. So there's certain perceived levels of exertion, like muscular soreness or out of breathness or elevated heart rate or breaking a sweat. And these are all good things. But some people get one of those and that necessarily means that it's a great workout. So it's easy to tell somebody they got a great workout if their heart's beating fast and they're sweating and whatever. So muscle confusion is a great way to do that. You constantly have the body getting sore in different parts, and it's going to feel effective. I honestly think that sticking with the same thing for some degree of consistency before mixing it up is probably going to have more for strength gains. But again, challenging the muscle works. And I definitely think, you know, so if it's muscle confusion or the same exact thing, as long as you're challenging the muscle and giving it some sort of resistance, it's going to have some sort of effect in the right direction. As far as muscle confusion goes, you know, I think the best reasons to mix up a workout is for mental more than muscle. Is sometimes doing the same friggin' thing is boring, it's monotonous, and not everyone is excited by doing 5 sets of 20 push-ups again and again and again. So for that reason, it might be fun to mix it up, to change it up, to do something different. Okay, we're going to put your hands on a medicine ball today or whatever. And that's cool. But really, I think it's a lot simpler than many people want to make it out to be. I don't want to mystify it. You know, I want to demystify it. I want to keep it simple. And again, I'm dumbing it down a little bit, and I'm understating certain things. But for most of the general population, challenging your muscle against resistance, whether it's external resistance or body weight resistance, making it more difficult, whether it's by doing a harder progression, adding more pounds, doing a harder variation, or even adding reps is going to make a difference in terms of strength gains. Now, in terms of elite athletes, in terms of bodybuilding, powerlifting, of course, there's more specified than that. But for the general population, these are principles that work for everybody, even you and me.
100% agree. I love the idea of not so much having muscle confusion for your muscles, but for your brain. Because I think that muscle confusion is just a thing designed by shitty trainers to trick people into thinking they need to be stupid sore every single workout. So I'd always tell my clients, like, hey, you want to be ridiculously sore? I'm gonna get a 7th grader in here. He's gonna make you do lunges for a mile. You want to be a good workout should make you better, not necessarily just like beat down. So I like the distinction that you made there.
Oh, totally. I mean, that's the whole, and again, there's a place for it. It's a good exercise. You want to get a lot done in a little bit of time. A burpee is great, but I hate the burpee because you could fuck up anybody with the burpee. You know, okay, we're doing what? Now
the burpee.
Now we're doing 10. Now we're doing 20. Like, so it's one of those things, you know, trainers and whatever. It's like, okay, we're doing burpees. And it's like somebody walks out of there feeling like they're going to throw up. But it's like, did you build muscle? Are you better? Are you stronger? Are you more coordinated, healthier, more impervious to pain?
Or does your back hurt because you've been flopping up and down on the ground like you've been humping the pavement for 10 minutes? You
might have been better doing 3 sets of squats. Just saying. Maybe.
You can just miss me with any burpees, and I'll put this out as a promise to any of my clients. You'll never see a burpee in your program. You're so welcome.
Yeah. I personally don't enjoy them, but you know, if you like burpees, fucking do them. It's cool.
No one likes them. No one likes them. It's like, I think that like people do like Bulgarian split squats, even though like that kind of gets a bad rep. No one likes burpees. I'm just saying it.
I do like Bulgarian split squats. I really do. It's one of those exercises, you know, it's really, right. It's strength, it's balance, it's mobility. It's, you know, hip flexing. It's a great one. It's so good.
Yeah. So I was, I for a while, my wife and I were traveling through South America, and all I had with me was my TRX. I had some rings, and I was too hard to set up the double ring, so I switched it out for a TRX. And I was doing primarily like body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, and then like some supplemental stuff on the TRX. And what I found was that like it did get a little bit boring, a little monotonous, kind of towards the end there, because we were traveling like 13 months. But I also found that I had a tough time building muscle on some of like, and just like by only increasing the reps. So I ended up like tweaking a few things about how I like perform the reps and stuff like that. But can you talk a bit about like how you're taking people and getting them jacked? And when I think of jacked, I'm thinking of more muscle tone, but still staying lean. Right. How you're getting people jacked with a lot of body weight movements. And I know you do the hybrid, like the strength training in here, but you've been doing calisthenics for a long time and you have a history of like a track record of success. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Okay. So, you know, to start with what you started with, you traveled, you said, I think for 13 months, and you were doing only body weight and TRX and weren't able to really synthesize muscle. It's possible, you know, when you grow muscle, obviously, you know, as probably 90% of the people listening know, to make it simple again, we beat up the muscle, we rip it up, then through nutrition and rest and recovery, the muscle repairs, it grows, it comes back bigger and stronger. If you were in South America for 13 months, you probably weren't eating enough to grow muscle either. I
don't know if all the beer I was having really was helping the muscle synthesis process.
That's the first thing I think of why I wouldn't grow muscle in South America for 13 months.
I would go to lunches, man.
Fish tacos y cervezas, you know?
Dude, it was the most amazing thing. You'd show up to a place, like all the places like Colombia and Ecuador, Peru had these places. You just roll up to like a family style where they bring you out lunch. You're served lunch. You can order lunch there. There's not an option.
Amazing. Like, it's whatever they caught that day, right?
Yeah. I was like, I'll get 2. And they were like, for you and who else? I'm just like, just this guy. I ate a lot of lentils. Found out also that lentils really, if they're not prepared well, you can spend a lot of time in the bathroom after a meal of lentils. Anyways, I'm sorry, go on.
No, it could have been the water they were using to wash those lentils over there too. But no, 100%. So like, how do we do it? But you mentioned jacked. And, the reasons I chose those words, jacked and shredded, it's not just because they're stupid fitness words, but because jacked and shredded, jacked meaning, we got the size or whatever, and shredded meaning low body fat. Essentially, that look that most of us are going for is a combination of having a certain amount of muscle and also a low body fat to a certain extent. So it's that hack of building the muscle, but keeping the body fat lean. So it's always a combination of exercise and diet. So again, in terms of the muscle building, you're right. In terms of going rep, eventually you hit diminishing returns, right? After you could do 10 push-ups, now you could do 20, now you could do 30, now you could do 50. Now what? What are you going to do, 1 million? So that's why either adding weight is important, or, to be fair, doing harder progressions, progressing towards variations towards one-arm push-ups, etc., or elevating your feet so there's more of your body weight in your push-up, or, like I think, combining all of them. But jacked and shredded, right, that's building the muscle, but shredded, for some people, and again, this is how misleading the internet is. That's, I guess, going to be a recurring theme over here. But some of us look the biggest when we're actually at the smallest, because you're at your lightest and you just have less body fat. So relatively, every muscle in your body is popping more. My weight over COVID fluctuated from being, eating and drinking way too much at the height of my madness, weighing probably close to 190.
No one else did that, so.
Right, just losing my mind, screaming at the walls, going outside, yelling at people, yelling at the ones with the mask, but that was just me. But just losing my mind. So I went up to close to 190, and then I took ownership of it, and I dropped down. I did a crazy fast. It was awesome. I dropped down to 163. Now I'm my normal weight, which is about 180. So, we have a lot of fluctuation that we can do and still kind of be all right. So getting that aesthetic, for a lot of people, it's leaner than they think. There's dudes I know who are walking around weighing 190, and they could probably drop 20 pounds when they think they only need to drop 5. It's how it is with all this stuff. So it's the combination of both.
Yeah. I was up at I'm 6'4". My highest weight was at like 240. And over the course of about 6-7 months, I dropped 40 pounds. And people would come up to me and ask me like, hey, did you put on some muscle? Did you gain size? And it's just because you build the muscle and then you reveal the muscle through like the diet and the nutrition. Right. And yeah, you look, guys especially are guilty of this. They think they need to be bigger, when in reality, getting more shredded is actually going to give them that aesthetic that they're looking for. I think talking about aesthetics is awesome, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to be vain. I'm like, be vain, go off. Why not? Like, you want to look a certain way. You get up in the morning, you see yourself in the mirror. You want it to reflect who you are, right?
You have one of the strangest things going on with somehow aesthetics and working out got vilified. It's like, oh, I just train for health and function. Now that I'm in my 40s, I only care about health. Screw that, man. I want to look good at 50, 60. And I'll tell you what, most people start working out because they want to because they want to look better. That's why most people start working out, because they want to look better. So should we shit on them because, oh, you're working out for the wrong reason? There's no bad reason to work out. So you want to look better? Great. You want to feel better? Great. I think for most people, it really is a combination of the two. But you have, especially in fitness, you have all these people, fitness trainers and whatever, certain Insta people, kind of poo-pooing aesthetics. Like you shouldn't train for aesthetics. That's not viable. Meanwhile, you got a guy who looks like me, who's covered in tattoos, saying that aesthetics aren't important. It's like, you sat 100 hours on a tattoo chair. What, for your health? Of course you think aesthetics are important. Or someone with dyed green hair on the internet saying, what you look like doesn't matter. It's like, really? Then why'd you dye your hair green? Of course looks matter. And there's nothing wrong with looks matters. We're a visual species. Humans respond to visual things. That's cool.
Yeah. And I think our outward appearance is a reflection of something we want to communicate, right?
Right.
I'm like, the reason I get tattoos is not because I don't want to look like someone with tattoos. Like, that's what I want to look like. That's how I want to appear.
And that's aesthetic. You want to look like it. Aesthetic is cool. You cut your hair or your beard a certain way. Right. You got someone endorsing mustache cream saying that they don't care about aesthetics. It's like, what are you talking about?
Dude, the internet is a crazy place. It's just filled with nonsense.
You just have to remember, or I have to remember, I shouldn't speak for anyone but myself. That's something I'm trying to learn. Don't speak for anybody but yourself.
Wise choice.
I have to remember that the internet isn't a real place. I just have to remember that. It's like, wait, let me go outside. Let me go to a real gym. You know, one thing over COVID.
Let me touch something tangible.
Yeah, right. I started spending a lot more time just by myself with my family. Obviously, everything was closed. And I built a home gym and I train people out of it now. So I'm going into the city and, you know, I used to leave my house and be gone for like 12 hours a day, multiple days a week. Now it's like I leave for like 3 or 4 hours here, 3 or 4 hours there. It's a really different thing. But it's important to just get the hell out, go in the sun. The internet isn't a real place. It's everybody doing a pretend thing. I mean, I'm doing a pretend thing. I hung up this banner. It's like, what do we got? It's like my washing machine, my laundry shit behind there. You know, it's all a
Don't
pretend
pull back
thing.
the curtain, Danny.
Right, the Wizard of Oz, right.
Yeah, I think, you know, everyone's putting on, right? I just feel like the people we resonate with the most, you know, I think about like The Rock. I don't know The Rock. If you know The Rock, I'd love an introduction. But
oh man, I wish.
He's got like one of the biggest followings on Instagram, and he just comes across as kind of like a nice dude. Like people go up to him and talk to him in restaurants, and he's like cool. He's not too good for all these things. So let's try to bring more of that, you know.
The Rock is the man. He is an enigma. He's universally loved, you know, by everybody. That's a hard thing to pull off, you know.
No kidding. Yeah.
He's great. He's cool. Everybody loves The Rock. We could all be more like him.
We should all be more like him. Yeah. A lot of people actually like look at me and they're like, you look a lot like The Rock. You look like a lot like Dwayne Johnson. I get that so often. I don't ever get that.
You know, The Rock, just one more thing about him to think about. The Rock, like, first of all, his level of fitness, right? Mm-hmm. If his only job was to look like that would be a full-time job. And he could be a fitness model. He could be, you know, whatever, a fitness celebrity. But the dude is also like making movies. The dude also has like a production company. You know, the dude is also like making appearances. It's so insane, like the level that certain people like The Rock can function at. Like just looking like that is a full-time job. Totally. And eating like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But like anytime Disney's like, hey, we have a movie with a jungle in it, they're like, call The Rock. We need him in this movie.
He can play any race. It's true.
It's true. Oh, Danny, I want to get into some rapid fire questions in something called Finish This Sentence. I feel like it goes really well with what we're kind of talking about right now, which is important.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I hope so.
Oh man. All right. Well, I was gonna start with this, but it feels like it's kind of right. So first one we'll start with is, I'm gonna say it kind of like I'll say something like, oh, the thing that I like most is, and I'll let you fill in the sentence, fill in the blanks. Fair?
Okay.
Picking up what I'm putting down?
I gotcha.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, number one, the celebrity I get confused with most often is.
Sadly, it's Bruce Springsteen.
Sadly, you could do way worse than that.
I guess so. I always say, like, I want, if there's ever a movie made about me, I want a young Robert De Niro to play me when I'm young and an old Robert De Niro to play me when I'm old. But people tell me Springsteen more than anything.
De Niro's good though. I like that. A little Raging Bull kind of.
Well, I'll take
early
it.
Days.
I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. If I could only eat one food for the rest of my life, it would be
bananas.
All right. Bananas are tasty. I'm ready to go to prison right now if it means that I could.
Oh man, I don't have a rapid fire answer for you. The only thing I'd go to prison for is like protecting my son. That's it.
All right, fair enough.
I won't go to prison.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm serious, man. I don't want to, you know, I'm doing a tangent for everything, but working as a trainer in New York City, I mean, 80% of the trainers in New York City have done time or gone to fitness college, as we call it over here. And yeah, at this point in my life, there's no fucking way I want to go. I'll protect my family. That's it.
Fair enough. All right. Under no circumstances would I ever
compromise my values for some bullshit.
Whew. Says the man who disengaged his YouTube monetization.
To be fair, I was only making 25 cents per year, so it wasn't that big a sacrifice.
We don't need to go into that. No one needs to know that. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm actually not. I rarely edit stuff. So
I don't edit anything.
it's
It's
raw.
fine.
The number one physical possession I own is.
Oh gosh, I don't even care about physical possessions. What the hell do I got? I mean, I drive a piece of shit. I'm looking around. I got my drum set. I like my drum set. I had it
All
since
right.
I was 13. That's my number one physical possession.
I love my Kindle reader. I use that shit all the time. I'm always on that. If I could have one superpower, it would be.
Oh, super strength.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of already have that though.
No. But
talking
not
about
super
buildings?
strength like powers. Or, my son is selling me on having super speed. We talk about the flash. I have a 15-year-old son, so this is a conversation that we have a lot. The superpowers, the way they do the Flash in these new DC animated reboots, he is very powerful. So that's something to consider too.
Who's the guy in the X-Men movie who's really fast? Quicksilver or something like that?
Yeah. He's really his version of super speed, right? You could beat anybody at anything with Quicksilver.
That's very appealing to me. You could also make it across the country pretty quick. You could get places. I'm looking for a transportation ability. So like flight, teleportation, I think would be kind of my number ones.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. If you had teleportation, you have to risk that you would teleport where there was some structure already. So you wouldn't necessarily want to teleport to a place you couldn't see or had never been to before. I was recently informed of this just yesterday.
Well, I'm wondering though, like, would you be able to teleport? Like, how far would you be able to go? Like, if it's only like a mile, you could kind of just like get up and then you like pop across, I don't really know what the limitations of this.
It's tricky. I think Quicksilver from the X-Men movies, super speed, at that point it's better than teleportation.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And another thing about super speed, does your brain move super fast to process what your eyes are seeing? Does your metabolism, like, do you have to eat nonstop? Like, there's a lot to think about with these things.
Some good questions.
Yeah.
So don't just pick a superpower willy-nilly. There's a lot to consider here. I think that's the key takeaway from this episode.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about with this. That's a whole other podcast. Yeah.
All right, two more. I like this one a lot. If I could delete one song from existence and human memory, it would be.
Oh man, what's that? Like, this is how you remind me.
Oh yeah, Nickelback.
I mean, they get a bum rap. I didn't even know that was Nickelback. Fuck. Every time I see someone criticizing Nickelback, I'm like, they're just doing their thing. And here I go criticizing them. All right.
That might be a puddle of mud, though. I'm not sure.
I guess they do suck. Whatever. All right.
Nope. This is how you remind me is Nickelback.
All right. Well, then that's the song.
I'd probably get rid of Santeria by
Sublime.
But not because I don't like it. I do like that song. I just think everyone really likes it. And that's kind of feels like just a dig at society. So I don't know.
It's a tricky thing, the chasm between I love this thing. Oh, wait, that thing became very popular. It must suck now. This is something that everybody feels as a purist whenever it's something that they love so much. You're like, what? We should be like, I'm glad everybody loves that. We're like, you're a poser. Ugh. We can't help it,
I'm a little spiteful, so I don't know. I just feel like that's it's a fun thing. Like maybe one of the best Beatles songs. Just get rid of them. It's out now.
Yeah.
No more Yellow Submarine.
Did you see that movie where this guy, the Beatles disappeared? He's like, I think, something like that. Right. He's a songwriter. All the Beatles music disappears except he knows it. So he's writing all the Beatles songs. It's pretty good.
I didn't see that, but I feel like I saw some of the commercials. I feel like that's an amazing premise for a movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty funny. But yeah, the Beatles, whatever. There's a million. Yeah, I guess they could lose a song or two. I'm not gonna miss it. I know that's another race to 0 followers over here, but whatever, it's fine.
We're on that trajectory right now. Let's just finish it out. All right, last question, Danny. My number one quarantine bad habit was
drinking. There's no question.
Yeah. What's your drink of choice?
I was drinking a lot of red wine over the first several months of quarantine. And that made me fat and drunk and cracked out on sugar and interrupted my sleep.
There's resveratrol in it, so it's actually healthy. I don't know if you read that study.
I haven't read it yet, but send it over. If you read it on the internet, it must be true.
That's correct.
But like a lot of people, I thought it was going to be 2 weeks and stuff was going to reopen again. And I'm here in New York and 2 weeks goes by and I'm telling my kid, I'm like, all right, you're going to go back to school tomorrow. And I'm telling myself, all right. And just things got very weird and surreal. And they're still weird. They're not weird. This is just how things are now. But to think back how it was at that time, and the amount of red wine consumed. But, you know, just to be clear about something, I'm not some teetotaler. I believe that we're all grown-ups and we get to make our choices. I don't even believe in alcoholism. I think there's things we do and things we don't do. I think things have their effect. But if you want to talk about this stuff, and I actually talk about this in the book very briefly, just in terms of a health and fitness perspective, things like wine and weed and whatever, you know, it's all good to do whatever, but you really do run the risk of they're just going to take away from your workouts. I'm not here to tell anybody what substances they should do, what they need to medicate their mind. Who the hell am I to do that? But if you're looking to gain muscle and you're consuming alcohol, it will make it much harder to grow muscle. It will mess up your sleep. It will make it harder for you to absorb the nutrients that you need. If you're planning on working out and you're smoking weed, it's going to affect your lungs and your respiratory system. It will certainly rob your motivation if you do it before your workout. So, you know, it's no judgment on anything. Same thing with eating a piece of cake or an ice cream cone. Do it when you want to do it. But once you start making it a daily habit or something you're doing frequently, it's going to start taking away from your fitness goals. I am a believer that life is to be enjoyed. What is it? Joe Dirt. He goes, life's a garden. Dig it. You know, and you should smoke the weed. You should drink the wine. You should eat the food. You should love your lover. You should go out in the sun. You should travel. You should do things. But most nights you should get 8 hours of sleep too, and eat lots of plants and animals and drink lots of water. And that's it.
That's a mic drop for the end. Danny, thank you so much for being here. That's awesome. Love, just love that message. Love considering the cost of things, but still enjoying your life. Where can people catch up with you? I'll include the link to buy the book on Dragon Door. But
awesome,
where else
man.
can people catch up with you?
You know, I'm on Instagram, Danny Kavadlo. I'm on Facebook, Danny the Trainer. My website, Danny the Trainer. You can email me at dannypersonaltrainer@gmail.com. You could Google me and read my stuff. I got articles on a lot of different things out there. And of course, pick up the book, Hybrid Strength Training, How to Get Jacked and Shredded with Calisthenics and Free Weights. So these pictures were taken after I got fat and drunk and then decided, no, I need to get jacked and shredded with calisthenics and free weights. So I went on a pretty intense health kick, drinking lots of water, working out 5 days a week, and got ripped up for the book.
How much did you weigh in those pictures?
I was very light in those pictures. I have the exact number written down. I think I was high 160s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Shredded.
I got shredded. Well, what happened is I hit a climax on December, I guess New Year's Eve, going into 2021. Right? Yeah. And I was like January 1st, and I'm not big into New Year's resolutions, but it's helpful for me to track things, and having a one is helpful for me. So I did a very extended, I don't want to say a juice fast or a juice cleanse, but I drank nothing but juice and water, fruits and vegetable juices, gallons a day. I cleansed myself. I worked out every day. So that's when I dropped that weight. That's when I went from almost 190 to 163. And then I put on 5 pounds of muscle. And that's when I took those photos. So I'm probably, in those photos, I'm probably 8% body fat, maybe. Yeah, I was like, I got to finish this book. I got these great photos now. Let me start writing this again.
Oh yeah. So make sure you go pick that book up. It has got so much valuable information in it. I'll throw that link in the show notes as well. But Danny, dude, thanks so much for being here today. What a pleasure to hang with you.
My pleasure, Nate. Thank you.